Welcome to my channel where we cover the lore of video games. We cover all kinds from the mainstream to the indie, so I hope you enjoy your stay, and welcome to the Chronicler of Lore. With Shauna healed and the dragon dealt with, there's not all that much for Dart and his crew to do outside of wait around until King Albert goes on the offensive, so that gives them a bit of time to relax. There's a tournament called the Hero Competition coming up soon, and it has warriors coming from all over the world to compete. Since the winner gets the title of the strongest man in the world, Dart decides to join in. Levitz, being a knight, is forbidden from joining, and Rose won't because she's such a good fighter that she doubts anyone there can beat her, so Dart joins alone. After Levitz tells him not to turn into a Dragoon during the matches for obvious reasons, he heads off to the waiting area, where he sees his old teacher Hashel knock some guy out who's talking too much. Dart hasn't seen him for a while, but Hashel can see that his former pupil hasn't gotten soft since they went their separate ways. That's good because the old man has no intention of going easy on Dart. He does want to know how Dart's hunt for the black monster went, but they don't get the chance to catch up since the matches are about to start. Dart beats his opponents and makes it to the finals where he expects to fight his former teacher, but Hashel actually lost to a swordsman named Lloyd who's apparently really strong. He's also not all that friendly. Dart meets him before their match, and he's not exactly the talkative type, but what he's lacking in social skills he makes up with combat prowess, and he proves that he's a way better fighter than Dart by beating him easily and taking first prize. Being known as the second greatest fighter around isn't a bad thing, so Dart heads out to celebrate and introduce his teacher to his friends. Hashel, just like everyone else, immediately sees that Shauna has a thing for Dart, and he's kind of shocked that Dart hasn't figured that out himself. But he's not exactly traveling the world to play matchmaker, so his pupil's love life isn't all that high on his priority list. He's actually been looking for his daughter who ran away a long time ago. While he was out hunting for her, he had come across Dart who was in the middle of his own hunt for the black monster. That was about 4 years ago, and after that they started traveling together. But even after going their separate ways, neither one of them have actually completed their mission, and it'll be some time before Dart can get back to his hunt, because a wounded soldier from Basel comes stumbling into the city with some bad news. King Albert's been captured, and they took him to Helena prison. Levitz wants to run off and break into the prison immediately, but charging off without a plan won't help the king at all. So Hashel calms the knight down by giving him the universal anesthesia of a really hard punch, so they all can take the time to plan their next move calmly. While Levitz was unconscious, Hashel went and got a bit of information, and it turns out that the situation is even worse than they thought. The entire city of Bale has been taken over, so the only knight that's even free to try and save the king is Levitz. The attack had caught them off guard, and to make sure that the people were safe, King Albert had given himself up. There's no telling what they're planning on doing to the king, so Dart and the others don't have much time to waste. Hashel decides to put his hunt for his daughter on hold for a bit to help out. Since he's been looking for her for nearly 20 years, a few days on a side quest won't hurt anything. So the group heads off to perform yet another prison break from Helena. Frugal, who hasn't gotten any less crazy than he had been the last time Dart had broken into the place, is planning on executing the king despite the fact that he's supposed to keep the man alive. He's expecting Dart and Levitz to try to show up and save him so he can kill them too, which all goes against the agreement that Albert made with Dole. I don't know why people think sacrificing themselves will make people fulfill their promises to them. Once you're in their hands, you don't exactly have any leverage anymore. So once they break their word, there's not really anything you can do about it. Dart's break-in gets noticed immediately, and because Frugal apparently took a page straight out of Jabba the Hutt's playbook, he drops the group down into a pit where a monster that looks a lot like a rancor tries to eat them. Had there not been 3 Dragoons in the group, it might have succeeded, but there were, so they killed the thing and escaped the pit. They all managed to get to the top of the tower just in time to stop Frugal from killing Albert. They deal with the crazy warden, but while they were fighting, a man in a robe shows up and pulls a stone called the Moon Gem out of Albert's back. It doesn't hurt him because of some magic mumbo jumbo, but that doesn't stop Levitz from turning into a Dragoon and attacking the man. He pulls out a sword that Rose recognizes as the Dragon Buster, something made specifically for dealing with all things dragon, and he stabs Levitz in the chest. His hood falls off and it turns out that the man was Lloyd, the same swordsman who had wrecked Dart only a few days ago. He runs away, but not because he was scared, since he obviously wouldn't have any problem taking Dart in his group. They don't even try to chase him since they're more worried about Levitz. but there's nothing that they can do for him. He dies and the Dragoon spirit leaves his body, but surprisingly enough, it chooses Albert as his next wielder. While they saved the king, they lost a friend in the process, and they can't even take his body to bury him since they still have to get out of the prison. They escape and hide in the ruins of Dart's old village, where they mourn their lost friend while trying to figure out just what Lloyd is plotting. Albert has no idea what the man is planning, but he can at least explain what it was that he took from him. And like everything else, it goes back 11,000 years to the time when the Wingleys ruled the world and the Dragon campaign took place. When the Wingleys lost the war, they disappeared, but their sacred relics were scattered around the world. The things were magical, but their powers could only be accessed by the Wingleys, and one of those items had been handed down in Serdio and sealed away inside of the body of each and every king. No one outside of the top brass in Serdio even knew about the Moon Gem, but Albert had hired Lloyd as an advisor after he worked as a spy for him. Apparently he was already working for Sandora long before Albert hired him, which put him in the perfect spot to launch an attack on the nation, and once he took the Moon Gem, he'd be free to give it to Dole, and the man wouldn't even have to conquer Albert's kingdom after that. He would be the lawful ruler. That's a pretty stupid system. You basically have to steal the king's crown and you become king. Granted, the crown is inside of his body and only a handful of people know it exists, but if it's that important, there is no way a new hire would ever know about it. And that makes Albert handing himself over even more stupid, but everybody makes mistakes. His just cost him his kingdom and his best friend. While he doesn't have an army or a home to go back to, Albert is a Dragoon now, so that doesn't mean his fight is over. He's just going to take a different approach and attack Emperor Dole himself at the Black Castle. Dart and the others decide to go with him, if for no other reason than the fact that they knew Levitz would want them to do that, but that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. While they're planning their assault, Lloyd has already made it to the Black Castle, and things aren't exactly what Dart and the others think they are. Lloyd isn't working for Dole, it's the other way around, and the man has plans far bigger than what even the Emperor understands. And that's where we're going to stop for today. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and donate if you can, and I'll see you all next time.